You think you know a good heist story because you've seen Money Heist? Well, let me tell you, the truth is way, way crazier. And honestly, a lot more brilliant than anything you'll see on TV. We're about to dive into the real masterminds, the ones who actually pulled off the impossible.
Yeah, exactly. The truth really is that the real world had already seen crimes that were way more shocking than anything on television. So forget about the red jumpsuits and the dramatic masks for a second. Long before Hollywood got its hands on the concept, real people were pulling off heists so bold, so audacious, they make fiction look kinda tame. And we're not just talking about robberies here. No. These were masterpieces of planning that just completely defied the odds.
So, what does a real master heist even look like? What's the secret sauce? I'll tell you one thing. It's not about brute force. It's the elegance of the plan, the sheer nerve of the idea itself, and the absolute genius in how it's carried out. So, let's break it down.
All right, let's get into the Masterminds playbook. We're going to look at 4 case studies, 4 of the most legendary heists ever. And what's so cool is that each one used a totally different weapon to pull it off. And spoiler alert, none of them involved a gun.
Okay, first up we have what I'm calling the power heist. This one happened at the Central Bank of Iraq in 2003. And what's wild is that, well, it wasn't really a robbery in the way you'd think. This was an act of pure, raw authority. We're talking about the eve of a war, and the bank gets emptied, not by criminals in masks, but by a simple order from the very top.
And how much are we talking about? Get ready for this. $1 billion with a B. To this day, it's the largest bank heist in history. And the craziest part? Technically, it was all legal. The order came straight from Saddam Hussein. The plan was, well, it was almost insultingly simple.
I mean, look at this. Step 1, be the son of the ruler. Step 2, give a direct order to withdraw the money. Step 3, load up trucks with cash. That's it. It was the ultimate cheat code. No alarms went off, no shots were fired, trucks just pulled up, spent hours loading boxes and boxes of US dollars, and then drove away. And you know what? Most of that $1 billion has never, ever been seen again.
Okay, so from raw power, let's completely switch gears to meticulous, painstaking patience. This is the patience heist. Amazingly, this also happened in 2003, but it was a whole different world over in Belgium. The target? The supposedly unbreakable vault of the Antwerp Diamond Center.
The haul? Over $100 million worth of diamonds. And this vault was no joke. It was protected by 10 layers of security. We're talking heat sensors, magnetic fields, a door made of a foot of solid steel. I mean, you name it, they had it. It's no wonder the police literally called it the heist of the century.
So how did they do it? This is what's just incredible. It was a long game. The mastermind, a guy named Leonardo Notarbartolo, posed as a legitimate diamond trader for years. He rented an office, made deals, built trust. He was just part of the scenery. So when his team finally made their move, they left absolutely no trace. No forced entry, nothing. It was like they were ghosts. All right, our next one is a story of just pure, old-fashioned grit and a whole lot of digging. This is the brute force heist at the Central Bank of Brazil in 2005. A crew in Fortaleza, Brazil, looked at the bank and thought, you know what, we're not going through the front door. We're not even going through the walls. Nope, they decided to come up from underneath. And they didn't just steal money, they stole, a weight. 3.5 tons of cash. That's like the weight of 2 cars. It came out to around $70 million. But seriously, just stop and think for a second about the logistics. How do you move that much physical cash without anyone noticing? The sheer audacity of this one is all in the engineering. Check this out. For 3 solid months, they posed as a fake landscaping company. And while they were landscaping, they were digging a 250-foot tunnel, a proper one with lights and ventilation right under the city leading straight to the bank vault. The police had no idea anything had even happened for 2 whole days.
And for our last case, we have a true masterpiece of psychological manipulation. This is the deception heist. We're going back to Tokyo, 1968, and this one was pulled off by just one person. No team, no tunnel, no years of planning. All he needed was a police uniform and a really convincing story. And with that story, he walked away with 300 million yen. And get this, to this day, it's one of the most famous unsolved crimes in Japan's history. The guy was never identified, the money never recovered. He just vanished.
And the plan? It's almost funny how simple it was. He dresses up as a cop, stops the bank transport car, and tells the guards there's been a bomb at their boss's house and that their car might be rigged with one too. The guards, totally panicked, get out and run for cover. And what does he do? He just calmly gets into the driver's seat and drives away. A perfect heist, built on one single, perfectly delivered lie.
So there you have it, the Iraq Central Bank heist, using raw authority. The Antwerp diamond job, all about social engineering. The Brazil Central Bank, which was just brute force grit. And the Tokyo Bank car, a perfect psychological trick. 4 incredible heists, 4 completely different weapons. So, what's the common thread here? What ties all these together?
Well, let's look at the anatomy of the impossible. Because what they were all chasing wasn't just money. It was the same ultimate prize, the perfect heist. And that's an operation that's not just about stealing stuff. It's about doing something everyone says can't be done.
And this right here is the core idea. The perfect heist is an operation where intelligence completely neutralizes power, technology, and fear. It's a game where your mind is the only weapon you need. It's about knowing how people think, exploiting their biases, making guards trust you, making officials obey you, making people panic on your command. When you can do that, all the vaults and all the tech in the world, it becomes totally irrelevant.
So when you look at all these cases, a pattern starts to pop up, right? Every one of them dared to challenge a system that everyone thought was unbeatable. They all involved meticulous planning and patience. They used their brains over brawn. And most importantly, they understood human behavior. They knew that even the strongest security system has one big weak spot, the people who run it. And they used that to their advantage.
Which brings us to a final and maybe the most interesting question of all. Why do we watch? Why are we so completely fascinated by these stories? I mean, let's be honest, why do we kinda secretly root for the bad guys?
I think it's because of this. Every heist in history begins with a mind that dares to challenge the impossible. At its heart, a great heist isn't just a crime story. It's like a modern-day David and Goliath. It taps into that part of us that loves to see the underdog outsmart the giant, unbeatable system. It's really not about the money. It's about what it represents, a win for pure cleverness over raw power. It proves that no system, no matter how big, is perfect.
So yeah, fiction gives us the red suits and the cool masks. It gives us characters like the professor. But the reality is actually so much more interesting. The real masterminds, they just wore ordinary clothes. They didn't need theme songs or catchphrases. Their power was in being completely anonymous. What they represent is something deeper than just entertainment. It's a symbol of rebellion. It's the idea that you can rewrite the rules of the game, not with violence, but just by understanding the system better than the people who created it.
So the legend of the perfect heist, it's never going to go away. Because as long as there are systems that seem unbreakable, there will always be a brilliant mind out there somewhere looking for the cracks. Which kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Somewhere right now, who is planning the next one?